teleported back in time. Woo! Oh my gosh, we're lost! Legit!
Just to give you an idea about Philippine Revolution, Philippine Revolution is also called the Tagalog War by the Spanish. It was an armed military conflict between the people of the Philippines and the Spanish colonial, which resulted in the secession of the Philippine island from the Spanish Empire. So let's talk about the Spanish Empire, or also called the Imperio Español. Consisted of the territories and colonies administrated directly by the Spain in Europe, the Americas, Africa, Asia, and Oceania. In the peak of its power, it was one of the largest empires in the world history and one of the first global empires. The Philippine Revolution began in the cold month of August in 1896 upon the discovery by the Spanish authorities of the anti-colonial secrets organization, the Katipunan.
The story behind the Philippine Revolution. The Philippine Revolution was an accumulation of numbers of ideas and exposition to the international community that led to the opening of nationalistic endeavors. The rise of Filipino nationalism was slow but inevitable. Abuses by the Spanish government, military, and the clergy was prevalent during its 3 centuries of occupation, and the exposition of these excesses by the Ilustrados in the late 19th century paved the way for a united Filipino people. Unfortunately, the growth of nationalism was slow because of the difficulty in social and economic intercourse among the Filipinos. Ilustrados. They were the middle class who were educated in Spanish and exposed to Spanish liberal and European nationalist ideals. The Ilustrado class was composed of native-born intellectuals and cut across ethno-linguistic and racial lines, Indios, Insulares, and Mestizos, among others, and sought reform through a more equitable arrangement of both political and economic power under Spanish rule. Among the famous Ilustrados are Luciano Lopez Haina, Marcelo H. Del Pilar, Mariano Ponce, Antonio Luna, and our national hero, Jose Rizal.
The mainstream of influx of revolutionary ideas came at the start of the 19th century when the country was open for the world trade. It must be noted that Philippines was formerly only tied to Mexico from 1565 when the galleon trade became the prominent means of economy. The use of galleon ended in 1815 when the Mexican War of Independence broke up. At this point, the post-French Revolution ideas was entered in the country through literature, which caused the rise of enlightened Ilustrado class of the society. In 1869, the Suez Canal was opened to the world after almost 10 years of construction. In 1872, the government of the succeeding Governor General Rafael de Izquierdo was lynched by the bloody uprising of the Filipino soldiers at the Fort San Felipe Arsenal in Cavite El Viejo. 7 days after the mutiny, many people were arrested and tried in the courtroom. The famous Gombursa, Padre Mariano Gomez, Padre Jose Burgos, and Padre Jacinto Zamora received their fates in the garrote because they accused of being rebels. Their martyrdom led to the birth of propaganda movement.
Propaganda movement. The propaganda movement is a literary and cultural organization formed in 1872 by Filipino emigrants who had settled in Europe. Composed of Filipino liberals, exiled in 1872, and students attending Europe's universities, the organization aimed to increase Spanish awareness of the needs of its colony, the Philippines, and to propagate a closer relationship between the colony and Spain. Start of revolution. The existence of the Katipunan eventually became known to the authorities through a member, Teodoro Patino, who revealed it to a Spanish priest, Mariano Gil. Patino was engaged in a bitter personal dispute with fellow Katipunan, Apolonio de la Cruz, and exposed the Katipunan in revenge. Father Hill was led to the printing press of the newspaper Diario de Manila, where a lithographic stone used to print the secret society's receipts was uncovered. A locker was seized containing a dagger and secret documents. In the last days of August 1896, Bonifacio called Katipunan members to a mass gathering in Caloocan, where they decided to start a nationwide armed revolution against Spain. The event was marked by a mass tearing of cedulars, community tax certificates accompanied by patriotic cries. The exact date and location are disputed, but two possibilities have been officially endorsed by the Philippine government. August 26 in Balintawak, and later, August 23 in Pugadlawi. Thus, the event is called the Cry of Balintawak or Cry of Pugadlawi. However, the issue is further complicated by other dates such as August 24 and August 25, and other locations such as Kangkong. And furthermore, at the time, Balintawak referred not only to a specific place, but also a general area which included some of these proposed sites like Kangkong. Bonifacio also organized the Katipunan into an open revolutionary government, with him as president and the Supreme Council of the Katipunan as his cabinet. On the morning of August 25, the rebels came under attack by Spanish Civil Guard unit. The rebels having greater numbers, but the Spanish being better armed. The forces disengaged after a brief skirmish, and casualties on both sides. By August 30, the revolt had spread to 8 provinces. On that date, Governor General Blanco declared a state of war in these provinces and placed them under martial law. These were Manila, Bulacan, Cavite, Pampanga, Tarlac, Laguna, Batangas, and Nueva Ecija. They would later be represented in the 8 rays of the sun in the Filipino flag. The revolution flared up initially into the 8 provinces of Central Luzon. General Emilio Aguinaldo, a member of the Katipunan, spread armed resistance through southern Tagalog, where he liberated Cavite towns little by little. In 1896 and 1897, successive conventions were held at Tejeros, which decided the fate of the new republic. By November, the republic was transferred in Biak na Bato, where a new constitution was ratified.
The Tejeros Convention. On December 31, an assembly was convened in Imus to settle the leadership status. The Magna Law insisted on the establishment of revolutionary government to replace the Katipunan and continue the struggle. On the other hand, the Magdiwang favored retention of the Katipunan, arguing that it was already a government itself. The assembly dispersed without a consensus. The Biak na Bato. Aguinaldo and his men retreated northward from one town to the next until they finally settled in Biak na Bato, in the town of San Miguel de Bayumo in Bulacan. Here, they established what became known as the Republic of Biak na Bato. with a constitution drafted by Isabella Artaco and Felix Ferrer and based on the first Cuban Constitution. The Declaration of Independence. By June 1898, the island of Luzon, except for Manila and the port of Cavite, was under Philippine control. The revolutionaries were laying siege to Manila and cutting off his food and water supply. With most of the archipelago under his control, Aguinaldo decided it was time to establish a Philippine government.
To sum it up, elections were held by the revolutionary government between June and September 10, resulting in Emilio Aguinaldo being seated as president in the sitting of a legislature known as the Malolos Congress. Between September 15, 1898 and November 13, 1899, the Malolos Constitution had been adopted, creating the first Philippine Republic with Aguinaldo as president. And so, on June 12, 1898,
The Philippines' first president proclaimed
The Independence Day of our beloved country.
This Philippine Revolution marked in our history by promoting nationalism
in the hearts of every Filipino.
Yo, thanks for watching. This is BSN 3 Nightingale signing off.